See, there's like different periods of his life where he was a serious actor, where he's this comedic, fun-loving guy, and he's the same guy in every movie in that period of his life. But I think The Burbs stands at least a decent flick. It may not be a good movie, but
it's a fun movie. It's a really fun movie.
It's a comedy, and that's the point. It was supposed to be.
He's kind of like Elton John, where he's got these different periods of his career.
Yeah.
You know, as opposed to Madonna, where the entire thing sucks.
Go ahead, Ian.
All right. Third one on my list, Edward Norton.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Now, I didn't want to put Edward Norton on there just because he's still kind of a young guy. I think he's just about to hit 40, or maybe he already has. I'm not sure.
He's still got more career left.
Oh yeah, he's got probably depending on how much acting he does, he could still act for another 40 years. I mean, people act until they die, but even though he's 40, but he's still considered a young guy by certain Hollywood terms, and he can still play young guys because he's still got kind of a boyish look to his face.
Right.
But
I didn't know he was that old.
Yeah,
that surprised me.
The first movie I ever saw him in, I think the first movie I actually did was Primal Fear, which was an okay movie, but he played this creepy schizophrenic guy who we think is the killer. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I won't spoil the ending, but it's got a nice twist ending that kind of makes me go, oh, wow. But the rest, oh, wow, Edward Norton kind of scared me a little bit there. and it's interesting because that was, the rest of the movie is just kind of as sort of a courtroom drama movie, but, of course, the next one I have to list is Fight Club. I mean, who doesn't love Fight Club? And Edward Norton is excellent in Fight Club. Of course, next to Brad Pitt, you've just got two extremely charismatic guys. Norton playing the awkward dude, and Brad Pitt playing the psychotic guy. And he's just excellent. And that even in movies where they're kind of okay, like Death to Smoochie. Yeah, he was in Death to Smoochie, which was goofy and bad, but really fun. And also, he was in The Incredible Hulk, the other remake they did after the first remake they did.
Right. American History X.
Yeah,
lots of really good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Next on my list is Tony Todd.
Yeah!
One of my absolute favorite actors.
Another classically trained actor. What is your deal here, Kat?
Well, I didn't do it on purpose, but that apparently is what I came up with. Tony Todd has been in frickin' everything, and I can't think of a single time I've seen him that I didn't really enjoy his performance. And again, he's in bad things, and he's in lots of extremely good things. And Tony Todd's one of those guys that he'll do anything. He'll be in anything. He's probably in a dozen projects a year. I mean, most people can't say that, but he pops up everywhere. He's probably one of the hardest working character actors there is.
I don't really know who Tony Todd is.
Oh no!
He's the Candyman.
Tony Todd is the Candyman, but you'll know Tony Todd as Worf's brother Kern.
Okay.
That's Tony Todd. Do you remember the DS9 episode? Ian happens to be my Star Trek club, by the way, and knows his Star Trek. Do you happen to remember a DS9 episode called The Visitor, where the older Jake Sisko comes in, and they do like this future that never happened thing with him?
No.
Anyway, he played the old Jake Sisko in that. But he's been in all kinds of stuff. Did you watch Chuck?
I've seen a few episodes.
He was the black guy in the first two seasons of Chuck, who was with. Anyway, he was one of the people who gave Chuck and them their missions. Yeah.
All right. I think I remember who he is.
I met him last year and got him signed on my bat list. Yeah. Anyway.
By the by, if you haven't seen Candyman, and I'm talking directly to Cap here, but if you haven't seen Candyman, you should see Candyman because that's what gave Tony Todd his Hollywood debut, essentially.
Right.
And I think Tony Todd makes that movie great. I mean, it's an okay movie without him, but he's fantastic, and that makes the movie better.
What's your next one, Vince?
My next one is, what did I just say? John Goodman is my next one.
All right.
That's a good answer.
I will say there's one movie that I did not like him in. Or not. It's not that I didn't like him. It's that I didn't like what he had to do.
He's been in some bad movies too. Did you see Evan Almighty?
You see, I was okay with Evan Almighty.
Well, the thing is, I actually kind of like that movie, but I'm not going to say it's good. I know that it's kind of a bad movie, but I enjoyed it. But he's in that.
He is. He plays a lot of these bit roles, which I find fascinating. The movie that bothers me is The Borrowers, or The Burrowers, or whatever it's called. The Borrower.
Are they borrowing or are they borrowing?
Oh wait,
Vince?
is that the one about those like little tiny kids?
Yeah,
the borrowers.
those little people.
Yeah, I remember that.
He plays this really over-the-top sort of kind of villain. It's really irritating, but I'm like, I know that's what they wanted him to do, so that's what he's doing.
I'm sorry, was that your Wario impression?
But you look at this guy in King Ralph, which I recommended, and I still recommend. It's a hilarious movie. And other stuff. Fallen. He's great. I mean, you can just... This guy has terrific range.
Hey, I even liked him in the Flintstones.
I love the Flintstones.
Big Lebowski is...
Oh, yeah.
And now, that's a movie that at first I really didn't like. It's kind of growing on me over time, but John Goodman is brilliant in it simply because... I mean, I hate to say this, but simply because how much he swears. I mean, I think I remember reading that it's on the top 10 list of uses of the F word, and it's number 10, I believe, or something.
Which, by the way, I have to apologize for the couple of slight curses from Ian so far.
Me too.
We prepped him before the podcast.
I believe I didn't say the word. I mean. Okay, how many people?
Okay, dude.
I'm sorry that I might have accidentally said a word that you learned in 4th grade. So, my next one is Denzel Washington.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I
good.
agree with that too. We were just talking about Denzel Washington just last week, weren't we, Vince?
Oh, yeah.
And
He was in the movie I recommended.
Yeah.
That's right.
If there's one movie of his that really that you need to see how good of an actor he is, it's John Q.
Oh, yeah.
Came out about 2001, where he literally holds people in a hospital hostage because his son won't get a heart transplant. And so he holds them hostage and says, I want my son to get a heart transplant. That's a really dumb synopsis, but just watching that is... You can see him really care for his son. He really wants to get him out of there.
God, it's heart-wrenching.
It really is.
Did you see Book of Eli?
Actually, no, I haven't seen Book of Eli.
I actually thought that was quite good, yeah.
And it also had, a couple other good actors in there. One, I can't remember his name.
My next person is Malcolm McDowell.
Yeah.
Another classically trained actor.
You're just going for theater guys, aren't you?
I love Malcolm McDowell. And I think part of the reason that they never give a bad performance is because they're classically trained.
And there's nothing wrong with that, absolutely.
Something about Malcolm McDowell is that I think the other actors you've mentioned, their classically trainedness, that's a nice adjective, is really comes through in every one of their roles. I think Malcolm McDowell, he has that, but over the years, he's become so ridiculously naturalistic in some of his roles. Mm-hmm. Naturalistic. Istic, not necessary for that word.
Anyway, yeah, and again, I liked everything I've ever seen, or I liked him in everything I've seen him in, and I mean, he was in that terrible Halloween sequel. Mm. Like, he was fine in it. I didn't have any problem with him. It was just a bad movie.
He was good in the good first Halloween movie.
And see, I missed that. I know, I only saw the sequel, because Vince asked me to go with him, so I did. But anyway, yeah, and I mean, like, he made Heroes for me. And
he was good in Heroes.
Anyway, go ahead, Vince.
Next one, Steve Buscemi.
Yeah. Yeah,
you're doing mostly Saturday Night Live people, so don't even give me your... I thought he was. Was he not?
I don't think so.
I thought he was at some point. Maybe not.
Yeah. I don't think he probably hosted at one point.
No, I know Ron Perlman wasn't, but...
Well, 3 of my guys have been on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, so what do you have to say about Steve Buscemi, Vince?
Steve Buscemi is one of those guys who is just strange looking.
Yeah.
And he has a strange voice. And he has a strange personality, and yet this is a guy who is another character, who is another actor who is just flavoring in a movie. You look at this guy, and you know whatever he's doing, he's going to be fun. And that's really all I have to say. I don't think the guy has terribly terrific range, but he has something that he has a certain pizzazz that keeps the movie going.
All right.
What number are we on?
I believe we're on number 5.
Are we all the way to 5?
Yeah.
Okay, because we've got 5 minutes.
Okay, well,
so
let's
just list them off.
Well,
yeah. Let's just get there. Let's do it.
All right. Well, I don't want to list one of them because Captain Logan already said it, but my next one on the list was...
So you had Patrick Stewart on your
list.
list.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I had Patrick Stewart. And one of my last one is Christopher Walken.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And
if Walken, you gotta like that guy.
If anything, when you pick Walken... Yeah, I can't do his impression. No, I'm not. if anything, it's for his Saturday Night Live appearances, because every time he's on that show is just brilliant. Every time he does the Continental, and every time he does some kind of a character. He did this one episode which the character was so goofy, but it worked. The guy who predicts the future, but he predicts mundane tasks in the future.
Oh, yeah, that was great. Did you have more people?
Yes. The last one on my list was the world's greatest B-movie actor, Bruce Campbell.
Oh, I love Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
He does some really crappy stuff. I would say
He
even
does.
some of his performances aren't that great, but I'll agree.
He does some of the worst movies ever, but he's always good.
Okay, my last three people are John Glover.
Oh, really?
I love John Glover. Yeah.
Even in Batman and Robin?
Well, yeah, but think about what he had to do. He was supposed to be this stupid mad scientist
Sorry,
guy.
we're trying to list these things off, and I'm
He was
asking
supposed
questions.
to be this mad scientist guy in a cartoon, and he did what he was asked to do.
Yes,
no,
you're right.
I love John Glover. I think he's possibly also classically trained, but I don't know. Robert Preston is on my list.
Who is that?
Robert Preston was the Music Man, the first Music Man.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he was also in a little movie called The Last Starfighter.
Oh.
Robert Preston.
Yes.
Yeah, and he goes back all the way to the 50s, I think. Maybe just 60s, but I think he goes back to the 50s. And then my last person is Ricardo Montalban.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. I got
And
two
both,
more.
and both, by the way, I gotta say that both Ricardo Montalban and Malcolm McDowell both did Fantasy Island. Because they had McDowell do the remake.
Quick question: is there anyone on your list that wasn't on an appearance of Star Trek? At
I think all of my people were in Star Trek except for James Earl Jones and Robert Preston. But everyone else was. But that's not why they're on my list.
Okay.
So just to get them in, my other two are Bill Paxton
Oh,
Yes.
and Kurt Russell.
Oh.
Well-
Your list is so much better than mine.
I think
I know, right?
I think you just trumped both of us with Kurt Russell.
With Kurt Russell, yeah.
That's a great
I wouldn't
way
have
to-
thought of Bill Paxton, though. He's really good.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, we're all out of town. We're all out of town. Here we go, driving away. We are all out of time. But Ian, thanks a lot for being with us.
Yep.
It was a really great topic and lots of fun. And thanks a lot for listening to Geeks Not Nerds, the podcast. We'll have something for you again next week. I'm Captain Logan.
I'm Vince.
And I'm Ian.
And we'll see you next time.